All right, so taking a look at this graphic organizer, which I got from a wonderful teacher on Teachers Pay Teachers. Teachers Pay Teachers? Pay Teachers? So teachers create resources, and then we go on the website and we buy it from them so we can use them in our rooms. So instead of me having to make it, she already did it, and so I was like, here you go, have a couple bucks. That's called plagiarism. This isn't plagiarism. I am fully admitting that I got this from another teacher. Yeah. So let's say we have the quadratic equation. 3x squared plus 4x minus 6 equals 0. So again, to refresh our memory's quadratic formula, you need to first identify your A, B, and C. So what is our A? 3. Our B?
4.
And our C?
6.
-6. So again, I have the formula written right here for you. The x equals negative b plus minus square root b squared minus 40c all over 2a. So now we just need to plug our values in. So again, we said b is a 4. So that's going to go into my first two parentheses there. A was a 3. B was a -6. And then down below, I have another 3 for my A. So then cleaning things up, right here gives us -4. 4 squared, 16. And then 4 times 3 times -6. And it will end up being positive, because it would be minus a -72, which really means it's plus 72. And then on the bottom, 2 times 3 gives me a 6. So again, I still have my -4 up front. 16 plus 72. 88. Still all over 6. So can we simplify the square root of 88? Is there a perfect square that goes into it? 4 and 22. 88 divided by 4, 22. So then the square root of 4 is, so we get 2 radical 22. -4 is still in front of our plus minus sign, and 6 is still on the bottom. So then all of the numbers not in the radical, so -4, 2, and 6. Can we all divide those by the same number? Yeah. -4 divided by 2, -2. The 2 in front of my radical 22, I can divide by 2, and I get a 1. And then 6 divided by 2 is 3. I can reduce them all by a 2. Now, do I have to put this 1 in front? I could leave it as just radical 22 also. You guys remember the really cool thing about the quadratic formula, even though you don't really care for it? It's on the reference sheet. Yep. The other really cool thing about it, always works. Remember, no matter what kind of quadratic you have, it always will work. Not every quadratic is factorable, and not every quadratic you can do completing the square on, but you can always use the quadratic formula for it. Yeah, she's got some really nice stuff. The foldable we used the other day to do completing the square, that was hers. Okay, so let's start off with this quadratic equation, x squared plus 6x plus 5. So with our completing the square method, remember our first step is to take this c value, which in this case is -5, and subtract it over to the other side of the equal sign. So that was step number 1. Okay, so now we actually used to combine the step we just did with the next step, where we would then put in a space here. So we got to figure out our number that goes into the space. So that is where we would use our x. We know our b value. We're trying to figure out what c value we need to make it the special kind of trinomial, which was our perfect square trinomial. So we divide this in half. We get +3 and +3. And now we multiply those together. And we would get a 9. So 9 is what's going to go in the space. So +9, +9. So now we can add the right side of the equal sign together, and that would give us a 4. The left side of that equal sign, we have our perfect square trinomial now. Because again, I took my 6, divided it in half, and then multiplied them together. You're kind of going backwards through your x this time. Yeah. So again, this step we usually did at the same time as this step. You can do them together, or you can do them separate. But how does our perfect square trinomial factor? X plus 3 squared equals 4. Because it's 3 and 3. We found the 9 by taking our b value, breaking it in half, and then multiplying them together. And because we did it that way, we already have right here our factors, x plus 3 and then x plus 3, which we shorthand it to be x plus 3 squared. So now, take the square root of both sides. So we get x plus 3 on the left side. What do we get on the right side? Plus or minus 2. All right, last step. Minus your 3. So 2 minus 3 gives us what? -1. And then -2 minus 3 gives us -5. So our two answers are -1 and -5. Because I did my +2 minus 3 is -1, and then my -2 minus 3 is -5.